What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, back for another video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how I started FBA Amazon Wholesale. So I'm going to talk about my experience with that thus far, how the process works, what I'm going to expect. So it might shock some of you since I have been doing Amazon for the past 12, 13 years. Like, holy crap, where does this time fly? But either way, I'm super fired up for this video because it's obviously a brand new business for me. I hope you're fired up. Let's go and do this. All right, so I was half lying when I said it's a brand new business for me. I'll talk about why it is a brand new business here in a second, but I feel like this right now is the absolute best way to do Amazon without doing Amazon FBA. This is Amazon FBA Wholesale. So the big difference is you're gonna have to shell out some money, but you're not gonna have to shell out a lot. So I do recommend this model versus Amazon FBA, again, because you don't have to shell out as much money. But let's be straight. I've done this in the past, and a little bit of my background that most of you don't know. I did start my entire Amazon career by doing retail arbitrage, which you might not know what that means, but that means I was going to stores, scanning things, buying them cheaply, and then reselling them on Amazon. And I was doing that one piece by one piece. And every now and then I'd get lucky. I'd go over to Target. I'd scan a couple stormtroopers or some kind of toy in the Star Wars aisle, and I'd hit the jackpot. There might be a dozen of them or so. And so this was exciting to me. This meant I was going to have some lunch money. I was fired up, and you guys can tell I'm not a little skinny kid, so I do need that lunch money. But that was then, this is now. This is slightly different. At some point, I did grow out of the retail arbitrage thing, and I went into wholesale, and I kind of got lucky. I was doing this in El Paso, Texas, and there was a store over there by the name of Helen of Troy. It's over in the west side of El Paso, if anybody's from there. They did wholesale OXO products, or I would just call them OXO products. So I was one of the very first people that developed a really good relationship with every single person that worked in there. And I would always get the intel on when they had some good shit. And what would I do? I'd go in there, fill up dozens of shopping carts, take it out, load up my pickup truck, pack it up, send it over to Walmart. And it was my first FBA wholesale experience that I had. Now, I couldn't directly order from them, but I knew when they'd get the drops because I made friends with every single person that worked in that warehouse. So shout out to any one of them. I know a few of them still watch these videos. And the reason that that was so great for me is because it made me realize the power of FBA wholesale. However, I'm just too lazy. I don't have the time to do that. I don't have the inclination, the desire to go out there and build relationships with people in the wholesale industry. So the way that I'm doing it now is I've partnered with a friend of mine who has a company that goes out there and buys these products for you. So I did have to put out some money for this, so it's not cheap. It can be costly. The margins are a lot thinner than drop shipping, but you do have the ability to scale and scale quite big. So I started a brand new store. So I want to talk about the different phases of starting that store. And also, there's one big thing that happens when you first start this that is going to determine how quickly you see success. So the big reason why I see most people fail at this, as they do even with the drop shipping stores, is there's no patience. These things take time. And if you're following the right person or you're partnered with the right person, you have to be able to trust in their expert opinion on the landscape of the entire market. So I'll tell you a little bit more what I mean by that. Things can happen. Shit can happen. So for example, when I started this particular model, in the beginning, we were going to be ready to go. They were getting me tax exempt for every state that there was. And then all of a sudden there was a big change. Like, we don't need those tax exemptions. We just need tax exemptions in your home state, which wasn't previously a requirement. So this made me have to get tax exempt in my state. And it took a little while, a little longer than usual. And that was part of the pre-phases. Like, I'm going to lay this out in phases and how this is going to roll out. But this was like going into the phases. So before I even jumped into the phases, I had to do all this. And this took some time, this took some energy. So now let's talk about the phases. Phase one is ungating. So once you got tax exemption, once you got all that stuff done, you have to go into what's called ungating. And you're going to have to get ungated in. The best thing to do this in is actually groceries. Why groceries? Well, groceries is an easier one to get ungated into. For starters, you can do it on a new account. You could probably already be ungated in an old account. So again, it's going to determine which type of account you have. If you have an old or an aged account, you can make a lot of money pretty quickly. If you have a brand new account, it's going to take some time, and you're going to have to lay out these 4 phases. So the reason that I started with the brand new account is just to show you guys what the process looks like. if you're going to get started. Like I already have several old accounts. I can throw it on there. If I have the cash flow and the ability to be able to do that, that's easy peasy. But I want to show you what it's like on a new account, because later on I don't want people to come back and tell me like, oh, Liz, I got into this and I'm still 6 months in and I'm only making $5,000 a month. I know I'm going to hear that. So the way I'm going to show you guys is on a brand new account that needs to get ungated. So phase one, ungating. It's getting ungated in groceries. Groceries are terrific because the sell-through is really fast. You usually don't get products that just sit there. The name of the game in phase one is you get ungated. Once you're ungated, you're automatically into phase two, which becomes the process of when you first start with a brand new store, what Amazon does is they allow you to only send in so much things to Amazon. So for example, you might have an inventory limit of 500 units, and that's all you can send until you prove to them that your sell-through, meaning the amount of time it takes you to sell one product, it starts to get pretty quick. Once your sell-through gets pretty quick, then they'll raise that. There's other factors that determine that. I'm just using that, like I'm basically pulling that out of my ass right now. But I don't really know too much about the inventory levels because I've always dealt with aged accounts. So again, I'm a noob about that. That's why I decided to start with a noob account. This is just what my partner has told me. So inventory levels need to go up. So we need to get some smaller orders in so that orders sell through fast. And we also want to develop and earn some feedback from our customer. Right. This reminds me of when I first started selling on Amazon 12 years ago. My very first seller feedback was a 1-star. Yeah, it was a 1-star. If you come back from a 1-star and sell over $10 million worth of product on an account, that's pretty good. So don't be upset if you get a 1-star at some point. That was my very first rating. So again, smaller orders, we want it to sell fast. Once that happens, they'll raise our inventory levels. That usually takes a couple months, and then that'll bring us to phase three. Now, phase three, again, getting those inventory levels up. So we want smaller orders that sell through faster, thus giving us more seller feedback, and again, raising our inventory levels. That's the name of the game until we get to phase four, which usually happens at about the 9-month mark. Yes, I said 9-month mark. That's, again, the biggest problem we have with brand new people coming into this whole system or even doing their own store is they can't or don't exercise patience. Again, if you're going to succeed at this business model, this isn't drop shipping. You're not going to see instant results. You're going to see results over the test of time. This is the type of business that will stand the test of time if you do it right. So again, you want to, about month 9, you get into phase 4. And now what happens in phase 4 is you widen the number of SKUs, and you want to have hundreds and hundreds of SKUs now. You want to be pouring some inventory in, and you still want SKUs that sell through faster, but your basket of products is much, much bigger. So again, phase 1 takes about 3 to 4 weeks to ungate you, and then we move into phase 2, and phase 2 will possibly be the first 6 months. Phase 3 will be up to month 9, and then phase 4 is 9 and beyond. And this isn't some sort of get rich type of system or anything of that nature. You're gonna have to make it stand the test of time. As I just said, all 4 phases, about 9 months. You might be at about $60,000 in total revenue, but again, margins are much thinner, so it's going to take some time to get there. It's going to take some effort on your part if you decide to do it yourself, and it's going to take some money as well. It's not going to be drop shipping. It's not going to be the easy peasy way that drop shipping is. This is going to take some investment. So where's my store at? We are about to enter phase 2, and I've just been sent the first PO or a purchase order that I have to pay out. In order to get $2,500 is the deposit I have to put forward in order to get the inventory into my account, and it'll start going into phase 2. So we went through phase 1, which actually took a little longer than the 3 to 4 weeks that they did say. It took a month before that because of the whole tax exemption situation. So we're about 2 months in, 2.5 months in, and now going into phase 2. I am told that since the whole tax thing, the tax set up in your state is now a little different. Whatever state you're in, just plan to have to get tax exemption in that state, and that'll speed you up at least that month and a half or month or so. So it'll be 3 to 4 weeks for ungating. Sometimes you can get ungated in as little as a couple days. So this is the first of many videos on how I started Amazon FBA Wholesale. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll be more than happy. If you want to talk about the business model or who I used for it or any questions you have, my email is below. So I'll see you guys on the next video.